another Generation 2 Plasticon review! Woo! Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we're going to cover some G2 stuff, some European things. So let's go ahead and start this entire thing out with Rage, which is the leader of they're called Stormtroopers in the UK. These are the aqua speeders that we got in the United States, but these are completely different. A lot different. The car modes, the robot mode, completely different than what we got in the United States. Although there is a set similar to the ones we got in the States, but those technically were not Generation 2. Those were actually G1 that came out right at the tail end. But we're here to talk about Rage. Obviously, one thing you guys can probably already tell, he is a bit beat up here on the front. The color changing gimmick on him does not work anymore. It's very faded. It's like very gray. This normally turns like a black is what happens. And then when you're supposed to shoot it with water, it normally turns a gray color. It's kind of worn out on him. Unfortunately, Rage is normally the one that is actually the hardest to get out of the group to not be completely damaged or anything, because the transformation gimmick on him is very finicky. It's a very cool car. This is a Jaguar. That's what this is. It's actually this was a car that was going to come out during the late 90s. Very few of them were actually built. Very cool looking car though. Very concepty, but this actually was a real super car back then. The gimmick would actually have your water squirting gimmick back here. And he's actually suffered a little bit of damage on his bladder cell here, because these things are very difficult to find where these are not so stiff that they're wanting to crumple. And all the water would actually shoot right here out of the front cannon, just right on the front of the entire car, which is really cool. I do like the idea that the gimmick is very well contained in this. It does have a hole on the top, and this right here is for the gun itself to be able to plug it into the top whenever it's not actually attached where it's supposed to be. Detail wise, it's actually got some pretty decent sculpting all the way through it. It's not too bad. I do like the pattern they actually have here for the rims. It's kind of interesting. And here on the back, obviously you're not really seeing any stickers. I actually had to put a G2 repro label here because I didn't have any more actual real stickers for him. It's very difficult to get hold of any stickers for anything Generation 2 right now, because repro labels has yet to ever tackle this problem. I don't think they ever will in the future, but it's very cool. Very hard to see, but he does actually have an interior on the inside. He does have seats sculpted in there. You can barely even see really the steering wheel on the dashboard. The green here kind of does get scratched up over time, but it is very cool that they actually went that far to put some kind of detail on the inside of the car as well. I do like the idea that they left the lights completely translucent. Very awesome. Some people out there I've seen take the water change gimmick, and if it didn't work anymore, just went through and just repainted this so that way it actually looked better. That's cool and all, but I kind of liked a little bit of battered detail on a lot of my Transformers. I like them to look worn and feel like they're actually played with, because to me it's a testament of time of how much play this toy actually got. Considering you can see a lot of scraping right here, because this happens a lot with this particular mold on both sides here because of the way the transformation gimmick is. So speaking of transformation, let's go ahead and get into that one, shall we? Taking a quick look at Rage actually in his robot mode, he looks really cool. I do like how Decepticon menacing he looks. A lot of red really pops out in this mode, along with the it's almost an Indiglo kind of red here. It's very fluorescent. it works very well for this mold, and I actually think it's really neat. The translucent used for the plastic that actually puts the color change gimmick here is kind of cool because it really makes his headlights look like they're glowing. Not to mention all this light piping here behind his head. This is where light piping really started taking off during the it was early to mid 90s, and a lot of people out there don't really understand that, you know, that's where all your light piping came from. It came from G2, guys. It didn't come from anything else. Has a little bit of white detail here, kind of painted here on the inside here, which I kind of wish I would have saw a little bit more painting on him. But I understand why not, because there's a lot of stickers that this guy is completely missing. The gun gimmick plugs in here underneath his fist. You can also plug it on top, but it's very difficult to try to do that. It's easier to undersling it. And the hose will come up here and it will kink. This is something I have yet to try to figure out how to fix other than not attach this to the back at all. Now, if you look at Jetstorm, which is very similar, the reason why I have these guys paired up because the guns are identical. There's an identical gimmick with these two, and this one here was one you guys got in the States. I know in the UK he's red, but he's not actually G2. This is the actual Generation 2 version. But as you can see, the hose actually will kink here in the very back as well if you do attach it. So he does have a similar problem that Rage does. Now the part that I wanted to tell you guys about that's very difficult to get hold of one of these guys without finding anything broken, it's this chest piece. This chest piece here, when you flip it down, if you noticed in the transformation I actually had to have these kind of angled. The reason why this angle's cut out the way it is that way you can actually flip this entire bonnet or hood portion up over. In turn, since it is translucent plastic, mine's actually suffered from it, but it actually completely broke a piece here off. This is the way I actually got it. I didn't actually break it myself, but this is why Rage is very difficult to find not broken, because of this one piece right here. This bonnet really is a troublesome issue. Kind of wish somebody out there would make some reproduction bits to fix that issue, because it actually wouldn't take much. All you really have to do is push a pin out to pull this out and then push it back in. Now there is one thing that you'd actually have to be really careful for, because the entire chest piece of this thing is translucent plastic as well. And there's a lot of molded detail under here too. I just really want to point that out. It's very cool. I do like these UK Stormtroopers. These guys are really cool. Rage to me is probably the coolest just because I like his car mode. I really like his robot mode. But we're going to get into the other ones here pretty soon. So you guys stick around and I'll end up having some more. Plenty more coming your guys' way. This has been Plasticon. This is me signing off. Peace out for now. Bye!